These two Strats may look the same, but there are huge differences, and knowing that will help you decide which one you want to buy if you're looking at buying one of these Strats, or if you're just interested in Stratocasters. This is a 50s road-worn Mexican Strat, and this is a 60s player Strat. Going forward, from now on, we just call them 50s and 60s. So let's take a look at the differences. Starting at the headstock, they both have vintage tuners, and they both have the truss rod adjustment at the base of the neck, not at the top of the neck like a lot of ordinary guitars. The next thing to note, obviously visually this has a maple fretboard and this one has a rosewood fretboard, but the neck profiles are different and the radius on the fretboard is different. For example, on the 50s Strat, the radius on the fretboard is 7 1/4, whereas on the 60s Strat it's 12-inch radius. And what that means is, if you've never played one of these guitars, then this particular fretboard is going to feel more rounded, whereas on the 60s it's going to feel flatter. Similarly, on the back of the neck, on the 60s, it's more of a modern C profile, so it's a shallower profile on the neck when you grip it, whereas on the 50s Strat, it's a soft V. I sort of prefer the soft V, that works better for me, but it's important to note those two differences as well, because when you're playing guitar, a lot of the feel for playing guitar is going to come from the neck. The frets on the 50s Strat are jumbo frets, which means that the frets are higher. So if you're used to playing a lot of slides, then you're going to feel those frets, which is why I said in the original video of this guitar, go to a guitar store and try out a guitar with jumbo frets, because they do feel different. Whereas on the 60s Strat, they are lower and they're easier to slide over, which is why I think Fender gave this particular guitar, the 60s player Strat, the word player in there, because it's a more generic feel on that neck. Also on the back of the neck, on the 50s Strat, it's got more of a satin finish. Because it's got that road worn look, the satin finish helps you slide your hand over it a little bit more, whereas on the 60s Strat it has got almost like a satin or poly finish on there, so it does feel not stickier, but there is more resistance certainly than there is on the 50s Strat. As I said earlier, the truss rods on both of these guitars are adjusted at the base of the neck, so in order to adjust the relief on the neck or adjust the truss rod, you're going to need to remove the pick guard. There is a trick where you can cut a little piece of the pick guard out to get a screwdriver in there or to get an Allen wrench in there, but it's recommended to remove the pick guard to adjust the relief on the necks of these guitars. So that's something that you should be aware of. Now we're talking pickups. In the 50s Mexican road-worn Strat, you've got 3 single coil Tex-Mex pickups. They're quite a warm sound, they're a grittier sound, but they are darker, in my opinion, than the 60s Strat. On the 60s Strat, you've got 69 custom shop pickups, which in my opinion have more clarity and more of that Strat chime, if you know what that is. Going down to the trem system, on the 50s Strat, it's a 6-point trem in a vintage style. And on the 60s Strat, you've got a 2-point trem. Now there is some information out there that says that a 2-point trem is a little bit more reliable and a little bit smoother. Haven't noticed it. I don't play with the trem arm all that much, and when I do, I just play with a little bit of vibrato. Both guitars have the volume, tone configuration and a 5-way switch as well. And the quality on both of the guitars, in my opinion, is amazing. It compares to certainly the American Fenders that I've had in the past. Both Strats have a 3-spring trem system. So I set those up so that the bridge is decked. I don't particularly like a floating bridge, but obviously you can have whatever preference you like. You can float the bridge on either of these instruments so that you can have that whammy bar either diving, or you can pull it up to increase the pitch on the notes. It's entirely up to you how you set those up. I set them up so that the bridges are decked on both of my instruments. Also, as I pointed out in the original video for this Sonic Blue 60s Strat, on the neck plate it has custom shop designed, which I particularly liked. On the 50s Road Worn Strat, just a blank neck plate. Another thing to note as well is that the 50s Road Worn Strat has a single ply pickguard. Now the single ply pickguards can be a little bit guilty of warping, so that's one thing to look out for if you're buying one. This one does warp a little bit. It's single ply. I did replace this one actually with a more worn pickguard from Tricked Out Guitar. They're a company on Reverb. So there are plenty of them out there that you can buy relic parts, or even do it yourself. Plenty of videos out there on how to relic hardware, how to relic the plastics as well. On the 60s Strat, it has a 3-ply pickguard, which is going to lay flatter. One thing I didn't mention as well, on the back of the 50s neck, it has that skunk stripe. On the 60s, it doesn't. But the 60s Strat, or this particular 60s Strat, is from 2011. It's a vintage 60s Sonic Blue Strat. It has some lovely graining in the headstock and on the back of the neck. Which one would I choose? I'm not sure. I bought them both and I love them both. If you'd have asked me about a month ago, I'd have said the 50s Road Worn Strat, because I absolutely love this guitar. It's a guitar I'll never sell, but I bonded with this 60s player Strat. I absolutely love it, and I love the Sonic Blue. I love the dark rosewood fretboard, and the more I play it, the more I come to love it. So I bought these instruments and I love them both. I hope this video helped you out. I hope it outlined the differences between the 50s and the 60s Strats. Also, don't forget, wherever you can, if you can go into a guitar store and play the guitars, then you should. Because although these look the same, they are completely different guitars, and they're going to feel different as well. And playing a guitar, or any guitar, is a personal preference to you. These are particularly important to me. I particularly love both of these guitars. So, thanks for watching. Like if you can, it's good for the algorithm. Subscribe if this is your sort of thing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.